My friends, there are things we pray for, answers we seek, signs we wait on, but sometimes heaven stays silent. Not because God doesn't love us, but because there are truths He holds back for our good, our growth, and our walk of faith. Today, I want to speak to your spirit. There are things God won't reveal to you. You want to know why God doesn't show you the full picture? Why you can't see the whole plan laid out from beginning to end? Let me ask you something. If you did see it all, would you even need Him? Would you pray like you do now? Would you lean on Him in the midnight hour? You see, it's easy to want the map, but God offers us something better, the guide. This might shake some of you, but hear me, God doesn't reveal the full picture because faith isn't built in certainty. It's built in trust. He calls us to walk when we can't see, to believe when we don't understand, and to keep moving even when there's fog on the road ahead. If you're waiting for clarity before you obey, you'll be standing still forever. Faith isn't having all the facts, it's having confidence in who He is when the facts are missing. Think about it. When God called Abraham, He didn't hand him a divine GPS. He said, "Go to a land I will show you." Nah, I've shown you. Not, here's the road. Just go. Why? Because God wasn't trying to give Abraham a destination. He was trying to shape a man of faith. That journey became the birthplace of a nation, not because Abraham knew everything, but because he trusted the one who did. Maybe you're in that place right now. Maybe you've been asking God, what's next? Just give me a sign. Show me the next 5 steps. And heaven is quiet. Not because God doesn't care, not because He's forgotten, but because He's stretching your spirit. He's developing a deeper dependence. And friends, dependence is the soil where faith grows root. Let me give you something strong to hold on to. If you could see the whole picture, you might run from it, fear it, or try to control it. But God, in His love, reveals just enough to keep you moving and hides just enough to keep you seeking. That tension, that divine mystery isn't cruelty, it's mercy. It's not punishment, it's preparation. So here's the hood to drive deep into your soul. You don't need to see the whole picture when you trust the one who painted it. The God who holds galaxies in His hand knows exactly where you're headed. Even when you feel like you're walking in the dark, remember He is the light. And light doesn't always illuminate the horizon. Sometimes it just lights up the next step. And that, my friend, is all you need. So take that step, even trembling, even unsure. Because when you walk by faith, you're walking with God. And there's no safer place to be than in the hands of the one who sees what you can't. Have you ever asked God, why am I going through this? Have you sat in the quiet of your room, tears running down your face, wondering why the pain won't stop, why the healing hasn't come, why the door slammed shut instead of opening wide? If you've been there, if you're there right now, I want to tell you something powerful. God won't always explain the pain, because trust is forged in the fire. Let that settle in your spirit for a moment. God could give you the answer. He could break it down, step by step, and show you exactly why this had to happen. But sometimes He chooses not to. Not because He's cruel, but because He's building something eternal in you that comfort could never create. Pain is not pointless. It's a process. And when God doesn't remove it, He's using it. Here's the hook. If God explained every tear, you might stop depending on Him and start depending on logic. And friends, faith doesn't grow in the soil of logic. It grows in surrender. We think we need answers, but what we really need is assurance. And let me tell you, God may not explain the storm, but He will sit with you in the boat. There's a story in the Bible that hits home. Job lost everything: his family, his wealth, his health. He cried out, begged for answers, demanded an explanation. And God didn't give Job a step-by-step reason. He gave him a revelation of His greatness. Sometimes God won't tell you why, but He'll show you who He is. And when you see Him, really see Him, it changes how you walk through the fire. Some of the strongest people I've ever met didn't get there through comfort. They were forged in fire. They didn't learn trust by having all their prayers answered overnight. They learned it when God was silent, when nothing made sense, when the world was crumbling, and they still said, "Yet will I praise you." That's trust. That's maturity. That's unshakable faith. Here's what I want you to hold on to. God doesn't waste pain. Not 1 ounce. Not one sleepless night. Not one moment of heartbreak. If you're walking through fire, you're not alone. God is with you in it, shaping you, refining you, and preparing you for what's next. You may not see it now, but one day you'll look back and realize the fire didn't destroy you, it defined you. So, if you're in the pain, don't lose heart. Don't stop trusting, even when it hurts, even when the silence feels unbearable. Because pain may be the mystery, but trust is the miracle. And the miracle always outweighs the mystery. Have you ever been in a season where you're ready, you're prepared, you're praying, you're believing, but nothing is moving? It feels like you're standing in front of a locked door holding the key, and yet somehow it won't turn. That's when the questions start creeping in. Lord, when will it happen? And here's the hard truth: God hides the timing. Not to frustrate you, not to punish you. Let me hit you with this. The waiting isn't punishment, it's preparation. If God gave you the exact timeline, you'd mark your calendar and go live life your way until that day came. But He wants more than that. He wants relationship, not just results. That's why He gives you the promise, but not always the schedule. Because in the waiting, your roots grow deeper. In the waiting, your worship becomes real. It's easy to trust God for one day. It's easy to believe when the breakthrough is around the corner. But what about when it takes years? What about when doors stay closed and prayers go unanswered? That's where real faith is tested, not in the moment of victory, but in the silence of delay. Listen closely. Delay is not denial. God's promises still stand even when the clock keeps ticking. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not coming. And sometimes the longer the wait, the greater the glory. Think about David. He was anointed king, but he went back to tending sheep. He didn't sit on a throne for years. Why? Because before he could lead a kingdom, he had to learn how to shepherd hearts. The waiting was shaping him for the weight of the promise. Here's your hook. You don't need to know when you know who. Timing is in God's hands, and His hands never shake. His schedule may not match yours, but it's always right on time. He's not in a hurry because he's not just working on the promise, he's working on you. And when the time is right, no devil, no delay, no detour can stop what God has ordained for your life. So if you're watching this and you're tired of waiting, don't give up. Don't let the silence make you question the promise. Stand firm. Keep praying. Keep praising. Keep preparing like it could happen today, but trust Him even if it doesn't. Because God hasn't forgotten you. He's just getting everything in place, including you. The promise still stands. And when it comes, it will be worth every minute you spent wondering when. What if I told you that God is protecting you by not showing you the whole battle? What if the very thing you're frustrated about, what you think is God holding out on you, is actually Him holding you together? See, we pray for victory, we ask for breakthrough, we beg for clarity, but we often forget, if God showed you the full weight of the war ahead, you might never take the first step. That's why He reveals the battle in pieces, because victory is found in daily surrender. Let me say something bold. God doesn't want your strategy. He wants your surrender. He gave you the full blueprint of the enemy's attacks, of every obstacle and every heartbreak. You'd either try to fight it in your own strength, or you'd run from it altogether. And neither of those will lead you to destiny. So instead, God says, here's today. Walk in it. Obey me now. Trust me with this one moment. That's how He trains warriors. Not by giving us the whole mountain to climb, but by teaching us how to take the next step. You want to see the whole map, but God gives you a compass, His Spirit. You want the big picture, but God gives you daily bread. Why? Because He's not just leading you to a place, He's building a person who can carry the weight of where He's taking you. Let me give you a real hook here. God's greatest victories are often hidden in today's obedience. We look for the finish line, but God is looking for faithfulness. Remember Joshua? God didn't say, you'll take the city in one strike. He said, march around the walls day after day. Why? Because obedience builds muscle. Surrender sharpens vision. And sometimes the walls don't fall until your will does. Some of you are overwhelmed right now because you're trying to fight battles God hasn't even revealed yet. You're planning for what-if scenarios and imaginary giants, when God is simply saying, give me your yes today. Just today. That's it. That's where the power is. Not in knowing what's coming, but in surrendering what you have now. You see, when you surrender daily, you stop relying on your own strength. And that's the secret. The battles you win in the Spirit aren't won by power or by might, but by total dependence. By getting up every morning and saying, God, I don't know what's coming, but I give you this day. I give you this moment. So if you're tired, if you're discouraged, if the road ahead looks impossible, pause. Don't try it. Figure it all out. Just surrender today. Because every giant is defeated in steps, not leaps. And when you walk with God step by step, what once looked like a war turns into a testimony. Victory isn't waiting for you at the end. It's being shaped in you right now. Have you ever chased after a miracle so hard that you forgot the one who performs it? Have you ever been so focused on the breakthrough, the blessing, the answer to prayer that you stopped seeking the face of the one behind it all? Let me tell you something deep and true. God keeps some mysteries, not to confuse you, but to draw you closer. Because if you had all the answers, you might stop asking the only question that truly matters, Lord. Where are you in this? Here's the hope. God will hide the why just to reveal the who. That unanswered prayer. That lingering question. That silence in your spirit. It's not an absence, it's an invitation. He's not punishing you. He's pulling you in. Because some things you only discover in the seeking. He wants you to come not just for the miracle, but for the presence, the person, the power of who he is. Think about it. Jesus didn't come just to heal bodies. He came to heal heart. He didn't just feed the 5,000 to show power. He did it to point them to the bread of life. And yet, many followed him only for what he could do, not for who he was. That's why sometimes God will withhold the answer, because he's asking you, will you still follow me when the blessings feel blurry? Let me bring it close to home. The greatest treasure of your life is not what God can give you. It's who he is to you. Miracles fade. Blessings shift. Feelings change. But the nearness of God, that stays. That sustains. That satisfies. And sometimes God will let you walk through questions so you finally reach for relationship. Maybe you're in a season where things don't make sense, where you've done all the right things, prayed all the right prayers, fasted, believed, and yet no answer, no miracle, just silence. Let me encourage you, don't stop seeking. Because on the other side of mystery is majesty. On the other side of the unknown is unshakable intimacy. Moses said, Lord, show me your glory, not just your power, not just your provision, but you. That's the kind of heart God responds to. Not one chasing signs, but one chasing him. And that's the journey you're being called into. A deeper pursuit. A holy hunger. So if God is hiding something from you, don't panic, press in. Don't walk away, lean in. Because the mystery isn't a wall, it's a doorway. And when you walk through it, you won't just find the miracle. You'll find the miracle worker. And once you've found him, friend, you've found everything you'll ever need. So now you've heard it, 5 truths God may never reveal. Not because he's distant, but because he's divine. Because what he conceals is just as holy as what he reveals. He withholds the full picture so you'll walk by faith. He doesn't explain the pain because trust grows in the fire. He hides the timing so your heart clings to his promise. He unveils the battle slowly because surrender is a daily decision. And he keeps some mysteries because his presence is the real prize, not the miracle. Here's what I want you to leave with. Your unanswered questions are not a sign that God has forgotten you. They're proof that he's forming you. Every silent moment, every delayed answer, every mystery, he is using it. Not one moment is wasted. Not one step is in vain. So don't stop trusting. Don't stop praying. Don't stop seeking. When God is silent, lean in. When he hides, pursue harder. When you understand, worship anyway. Because the God who hides some things is the same God who reveals himself to those who truly seek him. And in the end, what God doesn't reveal will lead you straight to the heart of who he is: faithful, sovereign, and always good. Trust him. He's not just writing your story, he is your story. And when the last page turns, it will all make sense. Until then, walk by faith, not by sight.